you're saying why would people oppose indexing?
Yeah, right.
I think for the people who want minimum wage increases to be modest, they should be supporting indexing as soon as they could get it enacted. Because I don't know if you were here for my comments, but I think starting indexing before you've restored the purchasing power of the minimum wage has a downside. That it to a degree could institutionalize the minimum wage at too low a level. But I think indexing, given the system we have now where we don't have regular increases, what I think that several of us talked about is you go for these long periods of time where there isn't an increase, and then in order to have that increase be meaningful, it has to be a relatively large amount. Whereas I think if there were regular increases every year, regular modest increases every year, it would be more a part of the regular economy, the economic adjustment of employers, and it wouldn't engender the debates we have about whether or not there's going to be dislocation from increasing the minimum wage. Because I think small regular increases would be much easier to accommodate than big once-in-a-blue-moon increases.
Thank you for mentioning that. Just please correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me that predictability is an important part of the business cycle, important part of business rationale and calculation. Seems that indexing would create a predictability that you don't currently have, while ensuring that whatever, as a policy matter, we agree a minimum wage should be, as modified based on the fact that we haven't had indexing. Have I missed an argument against that somewhere, that the predictability inherent in indexing, is it a hope that maybe the minimum wage will get stuck so low that as inflation continues, it'll become, in essence, not a factor at all? Is that the reason to oppose indexing?
I don't think the people who oppose indexing oppose it for that reason. Right. It might be a better reason for opposing it than the fear of the disruptive effect, because I think that inflation adjustments are relatively small in the minimum wage, and I think we've shown with the increases in state and federal minimum wages that increases of much larger than inflation, but still reasonable size, can be accommodated without problems. So I think the benefit of gradually increasing the minimum wage until you reach the desired purchasing power level, and then regular increases either in the minimum wage or what I testified would be more preferable, average weekly wage, it's fairly regular and relatively small given the absolute dollar value of the minimum wage.
Thank you.
I would just add, I think the universe of people that oppose indexing is very small. I know that, there are some, in the legislature that do, but I think New Yorkers get it. There was that Quinnipiac poll that showed 78% of New Yorkers support raising the minimum wage and indexing it, including majority Republicans. One of the reasons why Washington State's minimum wage is currently $9.04 is because it's been indexed since 1998. And Oregon's minimum wage is $8.80 because it's been indexed since 2000. So the workers in those states have, not living wage by any means, but a minimum wage that is so much better than the states because, 10 years ago, they acted to have it keep pace with the cost of living, and this is what the result has been.
And of course, the business community at no point has had a 1 year 20% increase.
Yeah, I mean, every year they know that the minimum wage is going to go up by 10, 20, 30 cents, depending on what the cost of living is, and they make adjustments appropriately.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Senator Montgomery.
Thank you. I want to see if you have information that might be helpful to figure out to what extent the community of people living at minimum wage levels have been hurt by the loss of support programs, family support programs. Because we've lost hundreds of childcare slots. We're about to lose hundreds more We've lost after-school programs in the city. And so what do those families do now that there's even